All right. We are in Prague. This is my boy. I'm going to have him pronounce his name because I keep fucking it up.
Yuval Jacoby. Yep.
Yuval Kobe. What a name. That's so fire. So fire. So this is my boy. I saw one of his ads for his brand. He started 2 years ago, and this thing has just absolutely blown up. It's called, well, I thought it was called AZV.A. It's actually A.Z.V.A. It's super fire brand, and he started about 2 years ago. I saw one of his ads, hit him up, and it just didn't work out. I wanted to get him on the podcast, him come to Utah, and then I saw he was going to Prague. I was like, yo, what dates are you going? Turns out we were in Prague the same time. It was meant to be. So we just grabbed a couple beers. We're in this place. So this is called Anonymous Bar, one of the best bars in Prague. If you're there, they're letting us use the space. She recognized me from TikTok, so she was chill with it. It was good. It was a good workout, but this place is sick. We're definitely coming back later tonight. But I'll let you give a little intro into who you are, how you got into this, starting with the vintage clothing. Just give them a little 30-second recap on A.Z.V.A. and whatnot.
Yeah, so I was in high school. I was playing basketball, so I didn't have time for like a normal type of job. And I started getting into thrifting. I was going to Goodwill, Savers, just different types of thrift stores, buying vintage clothing, reselling it on like eBay at the time. This was like 2014. And then that's how I kind of got into the clothing world. And then that slowly just grew my love for it. And then I realized that I wanted to make products that I could sell at a mass scale. Because with the vintage stuff, it was difficult because I was limited to the amount of quantities I could sell. So then I started making my own stuff. I made my first t-shirt. It did really well. And then we just kept experimenting with other stuff and then had a few TikToks blow up. And then, I just went from there and got into the ad space and started getting more consistent with it. And then now I'm at the point where I have like 8 employees and stuff's rolling. So it was kind of like a short story, but it started with the love for vintage and then wanting to create my own stuff, have my own creative outlet, and then just went from there. Yeah.
No, I love that. It's so important to have that creative outlet and like turn something into something else. Kind of just like I did it's interesting because we both have like that similar roots in the kind of vintage reselling and whatnot. I was doing the spooneries shit, you were doing the vintage clothing and whatnot. But what was kind of the click in your mind where you were like, oh, you realized that there was a limit to what you could do in the vintage space? Because I think a lot of people, they have their creative outlets or they have their things that inspire them or they're doing something, they're hitting their 1, 2, 3K months, but that's kind of the limit they can do just because of what the industry that they're in. What made you realize or what made you have that desire to be like, hey, I'm going to go do this and I'm not going to stop?
Yeah.
And also mention, I got to know how. Actually, I'll ask that question later.
We'll take it one question at a time. Okay. So, it just got to a point where I realized that the vintage stuff was cool and I loved it. I appreciated it, but I was feeling very limited with the amount I could sell. And I've always been a business person, very business-minded, entrepreneur. I love that side of things. And it's not always about the money. It's just more of like, it's like a sport in a way. It's like, how far can I take this? How big can I make this? And that competition in that is what really drove me. And just having the ability to make my own stuff, and instead of being able to sell something that someone else made, having that like feeling of like, okay, I made this and this is my creation and my design, just felt like so much better to me. And that drove me harder to want to create more stuff and like test different types of clothing and different things. And and it was just like, it worked out so well because it was just like one of those things where I released my first t-shirt and it did so much better than I expected it to do. And it was weird because I had the following from the vintage, but I didn't have like that streetwear following, and I just grew that. I like transitioned my following into, okay, we're transitioning into a real brand, and like having that.
How many followers did you have on the vintage account, and then how many does it have now?
So we started off, when I transitioned from vintage to streetwear, I had about 2,000 Instagram followers, and now we just hit 20K. We're already up to like 20.5, and we hit 20K a few days ago.
You got like 50K on TikTok,
Yeah, TikTok we're hitting around. We're about 50K on TikTok. Yeah. So it's been crazy. It's like it's one of those things where it just slowly, the work really paid off, and like people appreciating what we were making. Like was a different kind of appreciation, because there's a lot of people that do vintage, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like when you're buying something vintage, you're buying it because it's like vintage and it's cool and it's what someone else created. But when it came down to my stuff, it was like, I want people to buy this because it's my vision and it's something that I'm investing my time and effort and money into, and people appreciate that. And it was just a different kind of like feeling, honestly, and that like really motivated me in a different way. So
Totally. Yeah. No, I love that for sure. Something I'm super curious alongside of that is like, what were you doing money-wise? How many numbers were you doing with the vintage? How long did you do the vintage?
Yeah, so I did the vintage from like off and on from like 2014, 15 up until 2021. Okay, so it was very inconsistent. Like it was like a side hustle hobby type thing where I was just going to flea markets, selling stuff. Like it was just like a fun side hustle where I was making extra money. But yeah, so I was doing that for like 5-6 years, honestly, like off and on. But yeah.
So then when you were doing the vintage at its best, what were you pulling in a month versus like now? How much has AZV.A? Do you care? Should I call it A.Z.V.A? I feel like in my head it is AZV.A, but I'll call it A.Z.V.A. But just so you know, people are going to start calling it that. Unless you put the periods in between, it's going to be like, you're going to hear that all the time because I don't know, that's just what I see, but I'll call it A.Z.V.A. But yeah, how much has it done, like, and now what are you guys doing? And then I have a follow-up question for that.
Yeah, so with the vintage, it was very inconsistent because it kind of just depended on the amount of like flea markets I was doing and events, but it was typically around in revenue, like $4,000 to $5,000 a month extra, which was like great at the time. Yeah, it's not bad when you're in college and you're just like grinding a little side hustle. Like it was chill, and like that's obviously not all profit, but it was good. And now we're at the point where, I mean, it's crazy to say, but we're hitting that like 120 to 150,000 a month range, which is like, it's pretty crazy. Like we're $1 million company, which is like, it's cool to say, like in the span of a year, like we're doing over $1 million in revenue, which is wild. But it's like, yeah, it's one of those things where over time, you just, if you stay true to the grind, you don't give up on your passion, it's just like stuff falls into place. But it's like, it doesn't just happen overnight. Like it's like it was a consistent grind, day in, day out, while working other jobs, while doing other, like, it was just like, yeah, but it is at that point now, and I'm like, it's cool to see that and see that growth, and it's growing rapidly too, like, which is also crazy. So yeah.
No, man, it's insane what this guy has been able to pull off, because the thing that's really impressive for me is, one, your ability and skill to hire people, because I see a lot of people, their issue is they can't expand because they can't expand. Like they don't feel comfortable enough hiring people, hiring designers, hiring people to fulfill their orders, because they're so fearful things are going to get messed up. And it keeps their business so small, because dude, there's other brands that are like yours, or not even like yours, but the same size wise, like following wise. I have 20K on Instagram, but they're doing 5 to 10K a month. And so it is so impressive, like what you have been able to do at that. And it's so sick. And then that's my question is, what makes you stand out from the crowd? Why are you able to hit these 6-figure months with the size following that you have? Especially the ads.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I've been really good, like you said, at like hiring people that are really good at what they do, and like building a team of people that are passionate about what they do has paid dividends, because we weren't always hitting those numbers in those months. Like it was definitely a process where it slowly grew up. But like I hired my guy Brock, shout out Brock. He's like my first employee ever 3 months ago. Now I have 8 employees, and I just hired my first one like 3 months ago, which is crazy. It grew like very rapidly. But Brock is like super talented, really good designer, and I like hired him to help me with ideas, because it's like when you're doing everything by yourself and you're so focused on like the little things of the business that are important, like customer service, getting orders out, like those things are extremely important, but they're not the things that are going to like help you take it to that next level. So hiring someone like Brock allowed me to like throw some of the creativity on him, allow us to bounce off ideas. And then from there, it was like, okay, we're getting more product out, more ability. And then I got like our Instagram ads and our TikTok ads really pumping. Like people don't realize the ability of like TikTok and Instagram ads. Like if you get a good system going and you're spending, like we're spending $1,500 to $2,000 a day, every single day on ads, like that stuff pays dividends because you're getting your stuff in front of, like, my goal was always like, how can I get my stuff in front of as many people as possible, right? And it's like finding those ways to do that. And ads are expensive. They're scary. Like, at first you can lose money if you don't do it correctly, but putting the right pieces in place, figuring out what systems work, and having like good advertisements, and like learning from other brands like similar to mine that are successful is like a big thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with looking at other companies and being like, these people are successful. Why are they successful? How can I take what they do well, turn it my own way, and then also like put my own creative twist to it? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, these people are successful for a reason, and it's like, I'm going to take pieces from them and then add my own twist, and then like it's a system. Like, it's more of like understanding how stuff works and then applying that to your advertisements was huge for me, and it paid dividends for sure. But, yeah.
Nah, that was something earlier we talked about that I really liked. Is he was like with the ads, because I'm an organic guy, and I was sick. We were talking about it because he's big into ads, I'm big into organic, so it just like worked really well. We were bouncing ideas off each other, but he was saying like ads are so easy. It's like find your competition or find people that are in your same type of industry or have your customer base, and it's like find their ads. If their ad has 10 million views, they didn't just spend thousands of dollars to just get no results. Like, if it's at 10 million views, like on their account, it's like find a way to replicate it in your own creative way. And it's like, there you go. You've made a money printing machine. That's a lot of free game. And it's like, you saw that ad multiple times. Like, you can feel that. You can feel that ad. You can see how it was able to do so well. But something I'm super curious about, and I bet everyone watching, is like, you see these brands pop up. You see like your brand pop up. It's like, oh yeah, sure, 2 years. You have all these. You got the sports players wearing the clothing. You got the team of 8 people. But I want to know, it's like, what are the 5 pointers? What are the 5 biggest pointers? Actually, let's just simplify it. Like, I want you to think the 3 most important things when it comes to starting a brand, because I know plenty of people. You probably know plenty of people where they started a brand and it failed, or not even that it failed, they just gave up too soon. What is it about like starting a brand? How do you continue to keep it going, and how do you continue to grow it and stay consistent with it? Because a lot of people just give up too soon. It's sad to see, but it happens so easily. So how do you not give up?
Yeah. So I think the main thing for me at least is that, first off, you have to have like the personality for it. Like, owning a company, being able to make those tough decisions, being mentally strong is like a big part of it. Like, that's number one. Like, you have to be mentally tough. You have to be able to deal with, like, there's always times where like the brand's going to do like really bad. Like, that's just part of it. Like, it's an investment. It's a long-term investment. And a lot of people don't realize that. Like, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not something that's going to happen in 5 months, 6 months. Like, you can have some luck organically, but it's not always going to be like consistent. So it's like one of those things where you have to like realize it's a long-term investment. Being mentally tough is huge. And then, like you said, yeah, like not giving up. Like, you have to be able to like stick it out and just realize that you're doing this because it's something like you appreciate and you enjoy doing, not because it's like something that will make you money. Like, a lot of people are just like, oh, I want to start like a dropshipping company or like whatever. And it's like, you can like, that's fine. Like, you can make money doing that, but it's not like, you have to build the brand and build the name and like build something that's going to last. And if you're not passionate about it, like, there's no point in even trying, because it's like, what's the point in like getting into something that you're not passionate about? It's just going to end up, you're going to get burned out. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. And then it's like, yeah, then number 3, I'd say just getting good people around you. Like, and it takes time to hire employees. Like, that's not an overnight thing either. But taking the risk on adding someone to your team is like super valuable, because they're going to bring different ideas, different perspectives, different just like insight that will allow you to open your creative mind and like figure out different ways to benefit and expand what you're doing, because you have that other like mindset and person with you that's like your right-hand man. And like, that's huge. It's like taking that risk. I think a lot of people are scared to like take the L on like the profits for a little bit, but it's like the benefits that come from that 2-3 months down the line are like so much more valuable than like, oh, I'm going to lose extra $2,000 this month on an employee. But it's like, you have to think of it as like your company. Like, if you own a company and you die and you're the only person that owns that company's not worth anything. Like, you have to realize that like you have to build a team around you. You have to get to the point where it's operating without you even there. And that's like how you build like a valuable company. And like realizing that was huge for me. And that's when I like kind of took that risk on hiring people. And every time I hire someone, it pays off 5-10 times more than like that scared thought of me being like, oh shit, I don't want to pay them this much extra a month or whatever it is. But it's like that always overpowers it because I'm hiring people that are good at what they do. They're there for the long haul, and it's like I'm the type of employer too where I'm like, if you show me results, like I'll give you big like raises, like, and it's like, and I want to build like a family. It's not even about like the money or the, it's like building a team of people that are passionate about what they do, and that's like super valuable to me. So those are like the three main things that I'd say. Yeah, like just to recap, like just like getting good people around you. I'm like, wait, I don't even remember. Yeah, we had a few. The beer is really good in Prague, especially at an honest bar. So but yeah, just like having good people around you. I don't even remember the other two, but.
Nah, you're good, man. You're good. No. It's funny though, because I love everything he said. I totally agree with it. Those are all valid points. But it was funny because we were looking for a spot to film. And we stopped, so we first we grabbed a beer, and then I was like, oh, just do you care if we run up like a 15-minute? We're just gonna do like a quick episode. I wanted to get his story out there. I think it's really inspirational what he's been able to accomplish in such a short time, building that team. It's really cool. So then we found another spot, and just like right on this corner, beautiful view. And we go in, we order a beer because we're like, oh, okay, this will be sick. And then we set up the camera. The lighting was just trash. We're like, damn it. We're like, all right, we got to chug these beers. And then we go to the next spot, we grab another beer, and then we're like, all right, this ain't going to be the vibe. So, and now we're here. And yeah, this place, Anonymous Bar, this place is super cool. Shout out to them. Super grateful to be able to use the spot. This place is absolutely beautiful. At the end of this, I'll show you guys a little tour of this beautiful garden. But no, it's really important, everything you said about growing a brand and whatnot. If you could say one message to everyone, what would be your since you mentioned it, if you were to die tomorrow and AZVA was to continue on, what would the one message of the brand be?
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of pressure.
No, it's one of those things where AZVA is like, it's an acronym that no one really, I was telling him this earlier, it's like no one really knows what it stands for because I keep it very low-key and private. It's like I tell my close friends and like my homies and my family, but it's like, it's one of those things where like it signifies something, and it's like just following like what you want to do. Like I fell into that trap of like, and there's nothing wrong with like working like a 9-to-5 or like a job at like for like a company. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, it put me in a spot where I was like, I'm going to work every day, not enjoying what I'm doing. So it's like, I'm going to put my all into my passion. And if I'm either like, there's two options, like this shit's going to work or I'm going to be homeless. Like that's how my mind works. Like I'm literally like,
I love that you said that. I have that in my journal, word for word.
Yeah, it's like there's literally no other option for me. It's like I'm gonna make this shit work, and like that was just my mindset every day. Like I had months where I was losing money, months where I was making a little bit, and I was very down. Like mentally, it was draining. It was tough. It was like this shit is exhausting. Like I'm putting my all into something and getting no results. But then once it like finally works, it's like, dude, I can do whatever I want. I can go wherever I want. Every day I wake up doing what I love. It's like just it's more about the freedom than the money. It's like I can wake up every day and just be able to enjoy my life to the fullest and do what I want to do because life is so short. And it's like, that would be my message, is like, if you have something you're like personally wanting to pursue or passionate about, it's like, you don't have to go all in right away, but it's like, at least start it as like a side hustle, like get something going. Cause the more you talk about, oh, I'll do it next month or next year, it's just never going to happen. So it's like, just use a side hustle, just get it going. That's what I did. Like AZVA was a complete, and everyone was like, always like, for like, when I first started the first year, like, oh, I thought you were full time. Like you make it seem like you're full time. And it's like, yeah, because I'm going to make you believe that this is as big as I know it's going to be, because like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm working a 9-to-5 and grinding. No one knows that part of it for the first year of it. No one knew that, but it's like, that's part of like the process of realizing that not everything's going to be immediate results and like work right away. And it's just like, you have to sacrifice that thing and put your ego to the side and realize like when you first start something, like, yo, there's a million other people that are way better at this than me right now, but I'm going to slowly gain on them because I want it more than them. And that's like all it really is. And it's just like having that mentality of just like, I love what I do and I'm good at what I do and I know it, so I'm going to make sure everyone else knows it too. And that's just kind of like how I went about it. And it's slowly, and I'm not even anywhere near satisfied of where we're at. Like we have so much more to do, but it is cool to look back and be like, yo, I've accomplished this, and this, but like, let's get to that next step, you know? So it's like, but yeah. pretty much the message.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. I love it. I love it. It's a great message. I mean, that's all what I'm about. My whole message is dreams in action. It's like, if you have a dream, put it in action, keep it going. It's great. It's great. Sick. This guy wasn't wearing any rings, so we had to hook him up. I got him strapped up with the New York skyline. But yeah, no, go check it out. It's A.Z.V.A Studios, right, on Instagram.
Yeah, A.Z.V.A Studios.
Yeah.
Shop AZVA.com.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll show you guys a quick little 360. Check this place out. If you're ever in Prague, you gotta come here. Look how beautiful this place is.
Super sick. And we're gonna get a little tipsy night here.
Hey, we're gonna go crazy tonight in Prague. Look at their logo. This place is crazy. Huge shout out to Anonymous Bar. Hey, if you're watching this, put your dreams in action. Don't make excuses. I love all you. Have an amazing
brand
day.
here, AZVA collab coming soon.
Oh yeah, we're doing a Euro tour next year.